It's your boy. Kind of a show I went to last night. It was to see the Tedeschi Trucks Band in Hartford, Connecticut at the Xfinity Theater. And wow, this was an amazing show. This was a show that uh, you go to certain shows and you go and you're excited, but the band really impressed me on a level to make me want to make this a yearly tradition. My first time seeing the Tedeschi Trucks Band was last year in a small town in Connecticut called Simsbury, Connecticut. They played at a venue called Simsbury Meadows that maybe holds a couple thousand people. They sold that sucker out. They had the Wood Brothers, they had Hot Tuna. I believe I have a review up. If you look, last year I did a review of that show. But that was my first experience with the band. And this show in Hartford was even better. We got my boy Kofi Burbridge back. He was having some medical and health issues, and I was glad to finally see him play. But what a show! And I'm a dude. I got the Almond Brothers shirt on now. I am only 27, but I've always loved Derek Trucks. But I didn't know who Susan Tedeschi was until um, a little after I started really falling in love with the Allman Brothers. And I always thought that Tedeschi Trucks Band, uh, you know, Derek kind of sacrifices a lot of who he is for the band. That's at least what I thought. But now that I've gotten a second showing, now that I've listened to this band more, I really do love this combination. I still would do anything to hear the Allman Brothers again. But at the same time, this show really cemented my love for this union. By the way, I am still looking for an older, beautiful woman who can play guitar and sing like Susan Tedeschi. I'm my Derek Trucks looking for my Susan Tedeschi. So if you're older than 27 by 3 to 4 years and you love playing uh, music of any kind on the guitar and you can sing, please message me and we will get married. But seriously, they're an amazing couple. They're an amazing pair of artists that bring everything into one show. You get the gospel of gospels in some of these songs, and you get the southern rock of southern rocks in some of the songs. In some songs, you get a little bit of both, and then you get a bunch of covers in between that go all across the music universe. And let's start off by giving a big shout out to the Marcus King Band and Drive By Truckers, two amazing openers. Marcus King Band is who they. I mean, my name is Marcus. Spoiler alert. So it's amazing to see another Marcus do something well beyond anything I can do on guitar. Wow, Marcus King Band to open up. They were a great opener, and Marcus King himself is a great talented musician. And then Drive By Truckers, hadn't really heard them. I said that earlier in the year when I made a video reacting to this tour. But they are also a solid group. I love they have three guitars at times, and then they have one of the guitarists who plays some leadish. They switch on and off. He goes to the keys. Really great sound, really unique thing to have three guitars and then have a guitar slash keyboardist slash organist in the group. But let's start off with what I took away from the Tedeschi Trucks headlining or main event set. Um, I mean, yet again, we see Derek Trucks, at least for me, um, he is one of the most humblest guitar slayers in the universe. I love how when he solos sometimes he's literally back there behind the keys, in between the keys and the percussion players and the bass player, and it's just typical. I'm gonna hide in the corner and slay a solo. Derek Trucks is amazing, and multiple times, I mean, many times in this show, he showed what makes him unique, what makes him different. A child prodigy who has done a great thing. You know, he's about to end his 40s next year, and he's just a very amazing, unique musician. And then you combine that with Susan Girl can sing. I mean, I was like, hopefully, I was like, I mean, we got church tomorrow, here in Connecticut. I mean, hopefully we can snag Susan and she can sing with the choir. Now, she just it brings really that gospel feel. She grew up in the Protestant church. She brings that even more than many other artists bring. They bring, as far as the spirit of the church to the blues and to rock, and it's great to hear her sing. Um, so I mean, it's not much more I can say. Now, what I like as well is the they have a They have some musicians here. They have sax player, a trumpet, a trombone. They allowed the trombone player and the sax player to really display their chops during this show. It was amazing to hear some young players, and they really have a young band behind them, a diverse band of really you can see across races, ethnicities, males and females that are playing music behind them. And I think that their backup kind of I don't even call them backup, their supporting cast of horns and singers are great. So it's nice to see that they've picked some great musicians to play with them. They don't really even need to have all those people with them, but they really want to make sure that you're getting an experience that you hear on the studio albums multiplied when you get to the live show. So there's a lot of horns, there's a lot of singing of different kinds, and they bring that to every show. And look, they're not charging what most of the pop rock stars or really popular acts are charging. It's an affordable ticket too, which is nice. My boy Kofi Burbridge, I have completed the Burbridge Brothers experience for yet an well, no, that's not true. For this is my first year. I was gonna do it last year, but Kofi had some health issues for that show. But I saw Oteil last year, and I saw Oteil this year, and I saw Tedeschi trucks both of these years. But it was fun. Kofi was here this year, and his flute to piano transitions, it's amazing to get that. Most of the time he's on the keys and he can play the keys, but then he gets on the flute. It's a really cool thing to see a keys player pop up and pull up on the woodwinds. Being someone who grew up on the clarinet and also can play a little keys and play a little guitar, it's nice to see someone that can do both way, way better than I can do any woodwind, the key transition. And also, we got my boy from one of the OG Allman Brothers. I always pronounce his name wrong, but JMO was in town, and they had a third drummer. They had a third drummer on stage. JMO pulled up on stage. It was cool to have him, a great, great man who played with you know Butch Trucks with the Allman Brothers, and obviously very important to Derek, and they're like family. So it was nice to see him on stage just as a legend, in the genres that are played and the blues, and that was awesome. Now, one of the best moments of the night was a thing that they do all the time, as far as Angels from Montgomery cover to a Sugar cover, but this one was special. And it was because it was full of emotion. Now I don't, and excuse my ignorance, because I didn't know who had passed, and maybe if I saw them or if I researched them more, I would know. But a dear friend of Susan and Derek, and someone important in the music world, to a certain venue, I couldn't remember which one it was. They passed away this week, so it was kind of dedicated to that person. And Susan said, I'm gonna try not to cry, and she did get emotional during Sugar but it just made it even more powerful when you see these artists go through certain things. I remember, and this is a completely different genre, but I remember Blink 182 at the same venue in Hartford, right the first show after DJ Am passed, and the emotion that Mark and Tom had on stage, and even Travis. When you see these artists going through something, and you're able to, they're able to play music to help them, and you're able to cheer and support them on. It's not going to heal everything, but it's when you see these artists with real emotions, it makes it special. And Sugar she kind of was singing kind of the chorus of it, shake it, Sugar and she kind of stopped for a moment because I think she was starting to tear up or break down, and then went back to playing. and was right on time too. When she got that emotional moment, she went right back on time. But wow, she can sing, Sugar Ree. Now you can, obviously it's a Jerry song. It's which ties it to the Dead, but she could sing, Sugar Ree. Okay, she can sing in general, but it was just, and she adds her own little spin to the pacing of the chorus. That's a little different than I'm used to with the Dead bands or Dead related cover bands. But it was amazing. Angel from Montgomery to Sugar Ree, probably one of the special moments in the show that I can pick out. And then the best thing about this show is the encore or the end of the show. You get everything that's good about this band to cap it off. So we had a cover, Roosevelt Sykes cover, the nighttime is the right time. That's really Susan's moment to close out and bow out. And then you go right to that, to Will the Circle Be Unbroken, which I heard at the show. I got this shirt at the Allman Brothers 10/21/14. And also, Sky is Crying as well, just a side note. Two songs, two covers from one of the last Allman Brothers shows ever at the Beacon that I went to. Got Sky is Crying, Elmore James cover, and Circle Be Unbroken, traditional cover. But you go from Nighttime is the Right Time, that's Susan. Will the Circle Be Unbroken, that is Derek. And then you end with Bound for Glory, which is just it's vintage Tedeschi trucks. If you could pick one of the songs that represents them, that's probably the song. So I mean, you couldn't ask for a better closer. This was an amazing show, and I think again this is going to be part of my yearly tradition. If they come to Connecticut, please come back. I hope if you're listening, Derek, Susan, the band, you guys are amazing. You are everything I like about music. I love gospel, I love blues, I love souls, I love southern rock, I love rock. Um, so please come back to Connecticut. I know that some of the at the Xfinity, it may have been a little too big for you guys, but still, the show was amazing. The energy was amazing. So please come back. Don't let the seats on the sides, kind of the corner seats, discourage you. Please find a way to come back. I know Simsbury, last year was packed, and that's why you came back to come, to Connecticut. Even if you come back to Xfinity, if you go back to Simsbury, if you pick the Oakdale, please find a way to come back, and I will find a way, Lord willing, to see you guys. But a great show and a great thing to see once. I go to a lot of shows and I critique the sets and I give my opinions, and especially with DMB. But this was just a nice show to relax. I was not trying to critique. I was just trying to take everything in that I could. I got some videos up as well. If you want to see some of those videos, they are on my page right here, ConcertViz34. Follow me on Twitter. I also have some moments from the show last night on my Twitter and from the concert at ConcertViz34. Thank you for the support, guys. Those of you who like, subscribe. I learned my lesson. This show, the recordings do not have me singing on them like the Dave Matthews Band show a couple weeks ago where I butchered Captain. Sorry, guys. But again, it's your boy ConcertViz34, and I am out.